All right, week 10 recap, the reality check. Welcome back to another DNS address. Week 10 delivered a reality check. The number 2 team in the country went down in South Bend. Old Dominion produced one of the best running performances of the season. Mississippi State finally broke through. Georgia Southern, Troy, and South Florida keep winning. And next week, 2 DNS coaches meet with their bowl hopes on the line. Let's get into it. The headline of the week, Notre Dame stuns number 2 Miami. 1 week after scoring 105 points, Miami was reminded just how quickly college football can humble you. Number 2 Miami falls to number 22 Notre Dame, 30-20. Mensah threw for 378 and 3 touchdowns. Cooper Barkate finished with 179 receiving yards. Lofton caught 2 touchdowns, but Miami threw 2 picks, struggled to establish the run, and could not overcome the mistakes. The Miami Hurricanes fall to 7-2, drop from number 2 to number 11. Coach Noodle, the playoff dream is not over, but the margin for error is gone. And next week, number 10 Duke comes to Miami. That game is no longer just important. It may be an elimination game. Old Dominion runs wild. James delivered the offensive performance of the week. Got named player of the week as well. 27 carries, 282 yards, 5 touchdowns. Old Dominion defeats Coastal Carolina 45-33. Roche added another 109 rushing yards and a touchdown. The Monarchs threw for only 81 yards and tossed 2 interceptions, but it still didn't matter. They told Coastal Carolina exactly what was coming, and Coastal could not stop it. Old Dominion improves to 8-2, enters this bye week as one of the most consistent teams in the dynasty. Georgia Southern keeps rolling. Georgia Southern handles Marshall 45-27. Max Johnson completed 19 of 22 passes for 300 yards and 3 touchdowns. DM rushed for 133 yards and 2 scores while adding another 65 yards receiving. And Tracy Hill Jr. delivered the defensive play of the game with a 38-yard pick six. Georgia Southern improves to 8-1. Coach Bennett and the Eagles remain firmly in the Sun Belt and national championship conversation. Troy stays hot. Troy defeats Louisiana Tech 38-17. Gavin Griffin carried the ball 32 times for 203 and 3 touchdowns. Jordan Lovett added 87 yards. Goose Crowder threw 2 touchdowns, also tossed 2 interceptions, though. The passing game was uneven. The rushing attack made sure it did not matter. Troy improves to 8-1, travels to South Alabama next week for a dangerous rivalry game. Coach Hawk, you needed this one. Mississippi State defeats Vanderbilt 32-26. Fluff carried the ball 35 times for 183 yards and 3 touchdowns. The Bulldogs defense added 5 sacks and interception. Mississippi State improves to 2-7. The bowl picture may be out of reach, but this team refuses to quit. That matters. Our stock going up this week, Old Dominion. James nearly reached 300 yards and 5 touchdowns. That's enough said. Georgia Tech bounced back from last week's turnover problems with a 37-16 victory over Louisville. Mendoza threw for 303 and 3 touchdowns. The defense forced 3 interceptions. The Yellow Jackets improved to 6-3 and are officially bowl eligible. Central Michigan survived Eastern Michigan 28-27. The Chippewas improved to 4-5 and keep their bowl hopes alive. Texas State goes on the road and defeated Oregon State 24-14. Jalen Jenkins and Terrence Burgess Jr. combined for 267 on the ground with 3 touchdowns. The Bobcats improved to 4-5. Our need more film of the week. Miami. The Hurricanes still moved the football, but the turnovers and lack of balance were costly. Next week's response will define their season. South Florida Bulls beat East Carolina 44-38. MVB Jr. threw for 359, 3 touchdowns. DJ Crowther ran for 167 and 2 scores, and South Florida also threw 4 interceptions. The Bulls, though, are 8-1. And that football has to be protected, boys. Sacramento State falls to Toledo 40-17. The Hornets are now 4-6. Must win out to reach bowl eligibility. Northern Illinois, San Jose State comes and defeats Northern Illinois 49-28. 3 interceptions, 2 fumbles make it impossible for the Huskies to build momentum. Northern Illinois falls to 0-9. Nevada comes to town next week. Coach Breesy, it's time to empty the playbook. Our Week 10 awards, our Offensive Player of the Week is James from Old Dominion. 27 carries, 282 yards, 5 touchdowns, a complete takeover. Our Defensive Player of the Week is strong safety Tracy Hill from Georgia Southern. 11 tackles, 3 for loss, 1 pass deflection, and a 38-yard pick six. He did everything except sell hot dogs at the concession stand during halftime. Our Built Not Given award of this week. Mississippi State, when the losses stack up, it becomes easier to check out. Mississippi State did exact opposite. 35 carries for Fluff, 5 sacks from the defense, a home victory over Vandy. Coach Hawk, that one was built. It was not given. Our Heisman watch, there's been no movement this week. Tony remains the leader. Fletcher still in third. Miami's loss did not erase their seasons, but the Hurricanes need to keep winning if both players want to remain in the national conversation. Our bowl eligibility watch. The bowl eligible group now includes Miami, Georgia Tech, Georgia Southern, Old Dominion, Troy, South Florida are still fighting. Sacramento State, Central Michigan, Texas State, Mississippi State, Arkansas State, and Northern Illinois have been eliminated from bowl contention, but pride, recruiting momentum, and rivalry games are still on the line. Our Week 11 preview. Our game of the week is going to be number 10 Duke at number 11 Miami. Miami is coming off its biggest loss of the season. Duke arrives ranked ahead of the Hurricanes. The playoff picture is hanging in the balance. Coach Noodle, this is the response game. Our user versus user matchup is Sacramento State at Central Michigan. Coach Mullins against Coach Nelson. Sacramento must win to stay alive. Central Michigan's trying to move closer to bowl eligibility. 2 coaches, 1 field, 2 postseason hopes, and no room for excuses. Around the rest of the league, Georgia Southern travels to Georgia State. Troy visits South Alabama. Georgia Tech heads to Clemson. South Florida goes to Memphis. Mississippi State welcomes in Auburn. Texas State hosts Fresno State. Northern Illinois welcomes Nevada, and Old Dominion gets a well-earned bye. The Commissioner's Picks of the Week. Miami responds, defeats Duke. Georgia Southern handles Georgia State. Troy wins against the rivalry at South Alabama. South Florida survives Memphis. Texas State moves 1 win closer to bowl eligibility. Northern Illinois finally breaks through with the win against Nevada. Fingers crossed here. And the DNS user, Central Michigan's going to protect that home field against Sacramento. Coach Mullins, please direct all complaints to the Commissioner's office. Ladies and gentlemen, Week 10 reminded us that nothing is guaranteed. Miami went from number 2 to number 11. Old Dominion proved that forward pass is optional. Georgia Southern and Troy reach 8 wins. Georgia Tech secured their bowl eligibility. Mississippi State refused to quit, and next week the pressure gets heavier. Duke and Miami meet for the playoff picture on the line. Central Michigan and Sacramento State meet with postseason hopes at stake. And somewhere across the dynasty, a coach is about to save a season. A coach is about to secure a statement win. And a coach is about to ruin everybody else's plans. Protect the football, finish your tackles, recruit like your job depends on it, and remember, in the Department of Natural Selection, you select, we collect, built, not given.